What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Gunyan Brothers Entertainment. And as you can tell by the title, we have an interesting video today. So, you might be able to see this poor little 5.3 in the background came out of this Tahoe. When we got this thing, and Tyler and I did the first oil change when we had it, when we did the oil pressure sensor, lock sensors, intake gaskets, a couple things that we did, we drained the oil and there was 14 quarts of oil that came out. Now, I don't know if you know, but these 5.3s take 6 quarts of oil. All right, 6 quarts. 14 quarts is a lot more than what's supposed to be in there. So in this video, we're going to take the 14 quarts of oil that came out of the oil pan and just see just exactly how much does 14 quarts of oil fill up an oil pan. All right. So you got the oil filter. The oil filter is in it, and we have the oil level sensor in it. So it might not be as accurate because the oil filter is empty, or maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe not. I didn't pull the oil filter originally and drain it. How the hell with it. So this is the new pan. If you've been following along, this is the one we pulled from the junkyard. This isn't the original oil pan, but it's the same exact oil pan that comes on these Tahoes with the 5.3s, the 4.8s, the whatever that you put in them. So I'm just curious to see exactly how much oil fills up this oil pan. And if 14 quarts fills up this oil pan, could you imagine what it did to the engine? Because 14 quarts did a lot of damage to the gaskets. See, originally it was the oil pressure sensor that leaked. We fixed that, and then it blew the oil pan gasket. It blew the next weakest part. We fixed the oil pan gasket. I fixed the oil pan gasket, and then the rear main seal blew. All right. So, and if you haven't followed along, we got the engine out, obviously, and torn down. So we're gonna do this demonstration, and that's gonna lead into the next part. So, let's get the pouring the oil in here. The first thing of oil has 5 quarts in it. Before we get started, I'll bring you over and I'll show you the condition of the inside of the oil pan. So there is a little bit of oil in there, not a lot, just a little tiny bit, not enough to really make a difference. All right. So I'm going to get started putting the oil in here, and after every couple quarts, I'll bring you over and check it out. All right. First one going in. 5 quarts in this one. Now, it might look relatively clean because the guy filled it up with oil every day. He said he daily drove this thing for 6 months with the oil pressure sensor leaking. And it poured. So within us sitting at Meyer for 5 minutes, maybe 10, it leaked at least 2 quarts of oil. So there could have been 16 quarts of oil in this thing when we got it. Well, then if you factor in me taking it out in the backyard and doing donuts, it could have leaked quite a bit then too. But let's get to pouring. Yeah, this oil is kind of nasty. This one's not too bad. There was a lot of sludge in the original oil pan. See, and that's filling up pretty quickly. Looks like my morning pee. Not quite ploppy like that. That's kind of nasty, actually. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Alright, so we're at 5 quarts, alright? And the bottom section of the oil pan is already full. That's just 5 quarts. Come check this out. I don't know if 14 quarts is going to fit in this oil pan. Take a look at this. See, that's 5 quarts. And it's already filled the bottom section of the oil pan. I don't think we're going to get 14 quarts in there. Interesting. All right. That's one. 5 more quarts. So this will be 10 quarts of oil. This oil is a little bit more clean. Oh, it's kind of getting nasty now. It's separated a little bit, maybe. Wow, yeah, this is, guys, there's no way 14 quarts is fitting in here. So that really makes you wonder. Oh, I'm making a damn mess. Idiot. Guys, that's 10 quarts. And it's almost full. Oh, brother. I I have the pan almost as level as possible. It would be truly catastrophic if something just kicked the bucket, you know? That's so much oil. Oh my goodness. Now look. That's 10 quarts of oil. And it's almost full. That is insane, honestly. It only calls for 6. I should have stopped at 6 quarts and showed you what that looked like. But you kind of got the gist of it because 5 quarts was in there and it filled the bottom, like the bottom section. Wow, that's crazy, honestly. Well, let's see how much more that we can fit in there. I'm not feeling too confident about this, guys. Like, it's almost to the top of the oil pan. Wow. Well, there's 4 quarts in this. We're not getting all 4 quarts in there. I should probably pour that a little bit more steady. We're about to come out the back of it. Do like a slow, methodical pour. Oh, 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 oh. Whoop. Oh, it's going to seep over. I wonder if I can pour it into the oil filter housing. Oh, I'm going to make a mess. Oh, yeah, it's coming out the top. My bad, player. My bad. So this ain't going to be truly accurate, I guess. Oh, it's out the top. All right. So it's over filling on this side over here. So that's 12 quarts of oil. So there you have it. A 4.8, a 5.3, a 5.7, a 6.0 stock oil pan holds 12 quarts of oil completely full to the top of the oil pan. That's just absolute. Now imagine all of this plus 2 more quarts circulating around in something that just spins crazy. So for those of you that don't know, like if you look at your tachometer and it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever, that's times 100. So if you're just cruising around at and the needle on the tach's at 3, that's 3,000 revolutions per minute that everything inside the engine spins. 3,000 times in 1 minute. So imagine we only got 12 quarts in there. So imagine all of this just moving as fast as you could possibly imagine. No wonder why every gasket was damaged the way that it was. This is truly a lot of oil. And there's still probably 2.25 quarts in here that we can't fit in the oil pan. Like, take a look at this, guys. This is truly crazy. You can't even get 14 quarts in there. If I had this maybe a little bit more level, we could fit maybe another half a quart in there, maybe. But you're flush over on this side. Take a look at this. I mean, you're right at the lip right there. The oil filter is full. Just imagine that. They say more oil than what's supposed to be in the vehicle does more damage, significantly more damage than less oil. And, well, I've seen it firsthand. And, I mean, this is the engine, this poor engine. I mean, you guys seen it. It was leaking from everywhere. This was the original culprit, and then it became the rear main seal. And then the oil pan, well, the pressure sensor, the oil pan, and then the rear main seal. But it was leaking out of the front cover. That was leaking. And every single lifter in there, this was the only one that I was able to get out. All the rest of the lifters are seized in there. Seized in there. And I don't know if you can see it. That one, let me fix the camera a little bit. That one's not too terribly bad, but you can come over to this side. I get, that's probably a normal wear and tear, but I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of wild to me, honestly. So now that we've seen exactly how much oil, well, it's not even exactly how much oil, because that's only 12 quarts. There's still 2 quarts left that we weren't able to put in there because it just doesn't fit in the oil pan. That blows my mind. Blows my mind. So that leads us right into our next topic of today's video. I called the machine shop today on my way home from work, and it's a very reputable machine shop. He does racing engines. He's done my 400 small block Chevy. I built a 400 small block, and he's done that. And I ended up having to sell the engine, so I don't know how that's hanging in there today. Life happens, but very reputable machine shop. The guy knows what he's talking about. He's been in the business for a long time. His dad did it before him, so he kind of grew up around engines and racing and all that cool stuff. The guy knows what he's talking about. I called him, gave him a rundown of the engine, what happened, how long it was driven with an oil leak, with a nasty oil leak, how much oil came out of the engine, and kind of what I'm seeing so far with the lifters being stuck in the bore. Kind of just the overall rundown. And he told me, Mike, he goes, that thing absolutely needs to be torn apart. There's no way that thing's going to survive. I thought about just regasketing it and throwing a cam in it and some good lifters and rockers and calling it a day. But when a guy that runs a machine shop and has been in the business for a long time tells you that's absolutely not going to survive. He said those piston rings are probably on the end of its life. And now that I think about it, it was smoking quite a bit. It's something that I didn't really necessarily think about previously. He said that the piston rings are pretty much probably on their way out with all this oil that was in there. And he said not too far behind that would be the main bearings. So with that being said, I asked him what my options were. So I think it'd be cool to build like a 500 horsepower street truck, but do I really want to put the money into it? So he said, at the end of the day, I'm going to be $2,500 for a crank, rods, pistons, bearings, rings. That's me $2,500, which is a pretty good deal. Because we were talking about boring it out to a 3.905 inch bore and doing a 4-inch crank. So it'd make it a 383 stroker, which would be a pretty sick build. And then at the end of the day, for them to machine the block and put the short block together, to cam and degree to cam and do the basic short block stuff, it'd be another $1,500 or so dollars. And at the end of it, we could be looking at a $5,500 bill just for the bottom end of the engine. That's for the crank, pistons, rings, bearings, rods, cam. That's not for heads. So he said basically what's going to happen is you're going to want to get rid of the 862 heads. He said he would recommend doing a 243 head, and the 243s have a bigger combustion chamber, so it lower compression a little bit, but it'd still be around a 10.95 to 1 compression ratio. So I mean, you have to get a decent set of heads, and all the valve train up top, intake, and at the end of the day, you're probably gonna be you're $5,000 alone in the bottom end. It could probably be a $7, $8, $9,000 engine for a Tahoe. It would be cool if I had the money to throw around, right? But this is supposed to be the white trash trade-up challenge, and to properly build and spec an engine for this challenge isn't white trash necessarily. That's doing things the proper way. Now, I don't have a problem building the engine. I mean, I couldn't do it right now. That's kind of a lot of money to toss around with work the way it is right now. But what I do think is maybe we go find a junkyard engine. Maybe I go buy a $500 junkyard engine and set this one aside. Because you can buy an engine from LKQ and they'll pull it for you, and they'll verify that it runs, no leaks, everything's solid in it before they sell it to you, and you can get it for $500-600. So maybe we go buy a junkyard engine and put it in here and get it back together and finish the white trash trade up challenge. Or do we say to hell with the white trash trade up challenge and we build a certified sleeper Tahoe? I think it'd be pretty sick. Do we build a drift Tahoe? Do we want to do the white trash trade up challenge and keep trading up? Or do we want a drift Tahoe? We kind of got to weigh the pros and cons here. I'm very in between. But the problem with that is the 406E is going to take the first exit off the bypass and it's going to shit the bed. So we're going to have to look at doing an overhaul on the 406E, because if we build the 383 stroker, it's probably going to be around 600 horsepower naturally aspirated. And the stock 406E is just not, it's not going to hang, bro. It ain't going to hang. Ain't going to do it. So we have a lot of pros and cons to weigh, I guess. White trash trade up challenge, drift Tahoe build. I really want to keep trading because I want to get a diesel truck. And I think the only reason I took this trade is because I knew it was nicer than what I had, and I knew that I could fix it, but I didn't know the extent of the damage. And that's kind of what you get when you get into buying and trying to flip used cars, is sometimes you get screwed without even getting taken to dinner first. The guy could have offered me a nice steak dinner or something, and I didn't get a steak dinner, so I'm very upset about that. Then, not to mention, the dude lied about everything. He said it had a brand new water pump, it was just done. That wasn't true. He said AC worked great. You guys saw that. There wasn't even a belt on the AC system, and the tensioner was seized. He said it had a high flow oil pump. It has a stock factory oil pump. It ain't never been touched. All right. So, I don't know. We have a lot of pros and cons to weigh, and it'd be nice if you guys could weigh in and tell me what you guys think. Do we continue the white trash trade up challenge that we've started with an RV, and we got to a car, and then we added the Yukon to it, my old Yukon, and then we traded that for a motorcycle, and then we traded the motorcycle for this? Do we continue that trade up challenge and try to get to a nice diesel truck? Or do we say to hell with the white trash trade up challenge and build a drift Tahoe? That would be pretty sick, honestly. But the drift Tahoe is going to take a lot more time and a lot more money. So I'm open to suggestions. What do you guys think? Nothing? No. Leave it in the comments. Tell me what you think. I just want to come out here and make a short little video today after I got home from the gym. It's chilly out here. I'm going to take my ass back inside. So tell me what you think, and I'll see you next time when we pull apart the bottom end of the 5.3. Stay tuned. Peace.